welcome back to another episode, guys.
Yeah, g'day everyone. We have finally made it down to the snow. We are at Thredbo Diggings Campground. We're going to give you our top 5 tips for your snow trip, camping down at the snow.
And just a reminder that 10% of all profits from our YouTube channel go towards a rural charity. So thank you so much for watching the ads. It has been amazing how much we've been able to give back to rural and regional communities. Over $11,000 so far. So keep up the great work, guys. We really appreciate it. And it helps us as well to bring you content. So thank you so much, and like and subscribe.
Yep, enjoy this one. Cheers.
Cheers.
By the time we got back into camp yesterday, it was already 6 o'clock at night. We stayed on the hill pretty late.
Yeah.
And
stayed till last run.
pretty well stayed till last runs, yeah. And then got the train back down to the ski tube and then back into town. Grabbed a couple of things and came back out. So we didn't film much last night. In
Tell
fact,
them what you really grabbed when you say a couple of things.
Oh, big.
24 things.
24 stubbies. Yeah. So yeah, we pretty much just crashed out. So glad Liz pre-prepared those meals because we just heated up some spaghetti or cooked some pasta, heated up some spaghetti sauce, and it was dinner done. Kids were in bed on time, and we could just chill out because we were absolutely knackered. All right, so this morning the plan is we're actually going to hitch up and move the van out into the sunshine because we're struggling for power. It's day 4 today.
Day 4, yeah.
Day 4 this morning, and we probably would just make it through. In fact, if we didn't have to edit videos and run laptops, we would definitely make it through.
100%.
And we've virtually had no solar for 5 days, so that's not a bad effort. And then we're ready to go in the morning. I'll leave it hitched up tonight, and we're just ready to shift out in the morning.
I'll show you the drying room.
Yeah, we thought we'd show you how do we dry all our gear, because when you go up the snow, especially this time of year, like I said, the snow is pretty wet and slushy, so you do get very wet, especially the kids because they're rolling around in it.
Welcome to the drying room, also known as the bathroom. So these are the towel hooks. We've got jackets, backpacks, helmets with goggles, gloves. All the boots and all the linings are on the floor. Kids' gear, socks, everything that's wet is hanging up. We also had, oh no, we've moved them. We also had some coat hangers hanging off this bar here. But the reason we've used this room as the drying room is there's a heater vent in the side here. So we can close this bathroom door and then it just pumps hot air into this room, heats and dries all our snow gear. And then once it's dry, you just open the door and it heats the rest of the van up as well. So it's working a treat. It's a little bit tricky to get into the bathroom if you need to use the toilet, but worth it to not have wet, soggy boots, wet socks, wet gear the next day.
So this is our campsite. I don't know if you can see behind me there, but we are well and truly tucked up under the trees, and the sun doesn't actually hit that until quite late in the afternoon, and then it dips behind the mountain. So we get about an hour at best of solar, and it's pretty poor solar at that. So the plan is I'm just going to drag the van out here into this car parking area in the sunshine. It is kind of the downside of having a pre-book campsites is you can't sort of pick which one's best for your setup. It's also quite frustrating because this is a free campground. It seems like a lot of people book it, but then never turn up, never use it. They book it, I guess, just in case they want to use it and then never cancel. When we booked this, the site we got was the last site available. And I think there's about 10 or 12, oh, there might be more than that. I think there's about 15 sites here that are suitable for trailers and caravans. And at best, I reckon I've seen 4 or 5 of them actually being used over night time. So it is kind of annoying because there are much better spots we could move to, but you just never know who's going to come into that site, and you might have to move and things like that. So just one of the downsides, I guess, to pre-booking campsites, and especially when they're free, is that, yeah, there's no incentive for people to cancel them if they can't use the booking.
Go, go, go!
Well, moving the van to get into the sun was semi-successful, except the bloody clouds gave in and got all overcast. But we managed to recuperate probably, I don't know, 60 or 70 amps or something. So plenty for us to get through, and we were able to work all day. That's the main thing. Just trying to get the kids out for a bike ride now. It's like trying to herd cats to get them to come and follow us. But anyway, it's a beautiful part of the world to go for a little wander. So we're just going to go for quiet little afternoon wander through Thredbo Valley.
If you haven't been to the Australian Alps, get yourself here. Like, it's just, the colours are stunning. The vibrancy, the textures, the colours, it's just, there's nowhere else like it. It's the best. Come, come, come.
I'm sinking.
Harrison's bogged.
Free push.
We're not going to go too far today. We'll just go for a little wander down the Thredbo Valley track towards the Crackenback and towards the ski tube, and yeah, get some energy out of these kids.
If you wanted to really treat yourself, you could walk to Crackenback and get a massage there. That would be the ideal. We stayed there for my 30th and had a couples weekend, and it was the best. They do a great back massage.
We're back down at the diggings now. We just spent the last week hanging out up at the lodge, doing some on snow for a week with some mates of ours. We had a great time there, getting the kids out on their snowboards. We got to snowboard with some of our mates, which is something we haven't done for a long time. We've really missed that. It was like a holiday away from the van. It was so nice. Flushing toilet, running water, hot water.
Hot water.
Showers.
A drying room instead of the bathroom.
I was having showers twice a day. It was so good. But we're back down at the diggings now. We're just going to spend a few days hanging out here, but we thought we'd just give you a couple of our tips if you're looking at travelling to the snow with a caravan or camping or something like that. So our number one tip, get yourself some winter diesel. So this is the diesel fuel additive I picked up in Jindabyne. This is enough to treat our tank twice. You are meant to put it in, or ideally put it in, before you fill your tank, but I didn't have that luxury. We probably still had about 100 litres of fuel left in our 140 litre tank. So I put enough in to treat the 100 litres and just went for a bit of a drive and sloshed it around, and hopefully that's done the trick. If you are coming down this way, it probably pays to not do what we did and fuel up in Canberra, but fuel up in Cooma or in Jindabyne itself, because the diesel that you get in Jindabyne and Cooma is already treated. It's already got the additive in it. It's called Alpine diesel. Make sure you grab yourself some fuel that's either already Alpine treated or grab yourself some additive. That's not 100% of the issue with our vehicle. We still haven't gotten to the bottom of it. We'll keep you updated on that, but I'm pretty sure we've got a glow plug issue. Yeah. So we're still figuring that one out, trying to get it into a mechanic to get the glow plugs checked. They're a bit of tricky to get to in the ranges. They're in the intake manifold. We've got to take all that off. So it's not an easy DIY job. We're going to have to get in there and figure out what's going on there. So that's tip number one. Get yourself Alpine diesel, or at the very least some winter fuel mix, the additive that you saw us use there.
All right, tip number 2 is layers. So what you want to do is you want to make sure you have a good set of thermals for you and your kids. And when you're taking your kids up to the snow, make sure they've got a light layer underneath their snow layer, because all of the buildings at Perisher, at Thredbo, anywhere on snow, they are super well heated. I'm talking t-shirts and shorts weather. So you go from snow weather, you walk inside, and the first thing you want to do is just get all your gear off. If your kids don't have a light layer underneath, they're going to be overheated in the buildings. So you want a nice light layer underneath. Yep. We just packed a thin pair of trackies for James in his backpack. So
the other great thing about thermals is I personally think thermals are probably overkill at the snow, especially this time of year, if you're coming in the early spring like we have. But the thermals are great. They're light and they're easy to pack. They don't take up any space, and they're good for pajamas, actually, for the kids overnight, especially if your kids are like ours and they like to kick off their bedding in the middle of the night and make sure that they don't get too cold and wake up in the night. So that's a good one. And even for us, we use them for pajamas, or if you're sitting around the fire of an evening, it's just great to have that extra base layer. Layering is key. So
it's key.
That's definitely key.
Hot tip number 3.
Number 3.
Wear sunscreen.
Yes.
Class of 97, or what's that song? The Wear Sunscreen song?
I have no idea.
If I could give one tip for the future, sunscreen would be it.
I was thinking Banana Boat song. Yeah.
No, sunscreen at the snow, don't forget your skin. So you want to make sure you've got Blistex for windburn, because your lips will get chafed.
Yep.
And you want sunscreen, and you want a really good 50 SPF.
Yep.
Because
Yeah,
You don't want raccoon goggles. That's not a good look.
You get a
sorry to all the snowboarders who think that's like a badge of honour. You don't want the raccoon
No, you
goggles.
don't. Yeah, it's super reflective off the snow. You get a lot of UV there, so definitely worth layering up the sunscreen. So that's tip number 3. Tip number 4 is use the ski tube if you can, particularly if you're coming. So the ski tube, if you missed that, is the train that runs from Bullocks Flat just out of Jindy on the Thredbo Road up to Perisher. We love it. It means you don't need snow chains, whether you've got a four-wheel drive or not. It also just makes life super easy with the kids. You're not up on the hill in the main car park there with it puking down snow and you're trying to get gear on, or in the wind and the cold, and it just makes life so much easier. Get that added to your ski pass, particularly if you're getting a season pass. It's really worthwhile.
And just saying that, if you are going up to Perisher to the car park, you want to be there before 7:30 a.m. Otherwise, you will not get a park in the car park, and you've got up to what do you reckon? Like you see cars parked down the mountain for a kilometre.
The traffic's mayhem.
The traffic's mayhem. So
avoid all that. Jump on the ski tube at Bullocks Flat. It's the way to go by far. We love it. All right, tip number 5, last one, is managing your resources. As you guys know, we struggled a little bit for solar where we were under the shade of the trees. But even if you're out in full sun, given that it's winter in the middle of the year and you're generally in the valley or near the mountains, you don't get a lot of solar for the day. So you're probably going to be relying, if you're like us, on your solar mainly to just keep your fridge running. You're going to be using your gas, obviously, for your heater mainly and for hot water. Just to give you an idea, we're 4.5 kilo bottles lasting us between 4 and 5 days, maybe less, depending on how much you use your heater and how much you use your hot water. It could be less, but we're using that for all our cooking and everything like that. But part of that tip of managing resources is we highly recommend pre-cooking some meals before you come down, because it just saves so much energy, whether that's power or gas, because you're only reheating. And if you're doing big days on the hill, you don't want to come back down and having to cook a meal as well. So it was super handy having a few pre-cooked meals ready to go. Made a world of difference.
Yeah. So some other things that we did to save some power and manage these resources a little bit better was overnight we turned the fridge off, because what we found was the heater is underneath the fridge. So when the heater kicks in, it heats up that space. So then the fridge is going into overdrive trying to chill down when we were using a heap of power the first day or two before we cottoned on what was happening. So we've been turning the fridge off overnight while we had the heater running. Other things we did were, when we were doing dishes, instead of heating the hot water tanks and using the gas to heat that water all the way up, is I would just heat a saucepan of water, use that water to then do the dishes, because you only need a little bit of water to do your dishes. You don't want to use all your gas to heat up a hot water tank.
All right, guys, so I hope you found that helpful. And our number one thing is get down here and enjoy some cold weather camping, get into the snow, have a bit of fun with it. It is a great experience to go and do. I think something everyone should do. It's a beautiful landscape, and it's something awesome about camping and watching the snow up on top of the mountains there. It's bloody spectacular, and I don't know, something that you don't get to do in Australia very often. So I know everyone heads north for the winter, but there is a heap of really good camping down in the southern parts of the country during winter. We highly recommend it. We're going to be doing a bit more alpine camping as well. We've got heaps more to show you. We're going to be taking you back to some of our old favourite places, as well as some awesome new spots that we're looking forward to discovering with you.
Can't wait to show you.
Can't wait to show you some of that.
My happy place.
We're going to do a lot more at Kosciuszko, and then we're going to be heading down to the coast. So stick around for that. If you want to make sure you don't miss it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't before. And give us a like on this video if you enjoyed it, and leave a comment below. Are you going to come snow camping? Are you going to come camping in winter up in the up in the Alpine regions? Again, guys, really hope you've enjoyed this one. Thanks so much for your support. We'll see you next Sunday.
See you next Sunday, guys.
Cheers.
Welcome to another episode. That's my line. Hey.
Coming up. Good?
Yeah. All right, guys. Don't forget, and just a reminder that...
So, I thought we'd show them, or did you want to say something?
Only about the solar, but come on. Let's just do tip number 1. Yeah.
I'm getting hungry.
You're always hungry.
Always hungry. Just like the children. Alrighty.
All right.
Let's do it.
Let's roll.